election coming up in, 70 plus days, and early voting with mail-in voting beginning September 26th. What kinds of concerns are out there about election integrity? That's an important question, and we'll work to get those answers. But joining us right now is Carol Davis with the Illinois Election Integrity Project, and talking about ballot security. I think she's somebody to go to be able to raise a lot of questions. So, Carol, thanks for taking time with us this morning with Illinois in Focus Daily with America's Talking Network and the Center Square. So walk us through what are some of the latest concerns there are, in particular with Illinois' election process.
Oh, it's never dull in Illinois regarding elections, and we've got several things we're keeping our eye on. As you know, we have been working on trying to get the voter rolls properly maintained in Illinois. And our Judicial Watch lawsuit that we filed in March of this year is still working its way through the courts. We had won access to the rolls last year, and then we turned right around again with partnering with Judicial Watch to sue the State Board of Elections to take the inactive and ineligibles off the rolls. Of course, the state has dragged their feet on that lawsuit as much as they can. And then recently in July, the evil genius of the left, Mark Elias, a top attorney on the left, he sought to intervene in this lawsuit on behalf of the Illinois AFL-CIO and the Illinois Federation of Teachers. So, it's a battle, Greg, on that score, but we are not putting all our eggs in the lawsuit basket. Our voter list maintenance team has been working very hard in many counties to help clean the rolls. We're using a very powerful program, a relational database to do that. And then again, training frontline precinct committeemen how to clean the rolls in their own precincts. So on the cleaning the rolls front, we are miles ahead of where we all were in 2020, but we're never quite where we want to be on that score.
And if we could I want to, before we talk about some of the other potential hazards there about these voter rolls and the list of inactive voters, what's the estimate? How many statewide inactive voters are there?
Well, once we settled the suit to get access to the rolls, Judicial Watch did an analysis, and out of our around 8 million registered voters in the entire state, they estimate there's about 800,000, Greg, that should not be on Illinois voter rolls. It's stunning. 10% of our rolls are just not, parked. People are parked on there that should not be on there. And of course, it opens the possibility that those names could be used by nefarious actors to cast vote-by-mail ballots.
And are these people who are deceased? Are they people who just haven't voted in, 4 election cycles? Who are these inactive voters?
Well, it's an entire collection, and it's people, of course, who have passed away. It's people who have moved out of the state. It's possibly people who never existed. The sad part is that many of the voter registration processes, especially that we use in Illinois, don't really have a lot of checks and balances. We are, of course, an automatic voter registration state, which means our Department of Motor Vehicles puts everyone that comes in the door on the voter rolls. They have to opt out in order not to be added. So it creates quite a mess.
We're talking with Carol Davis, Illinois Election Integrity Project, somebody who is working with other groups to secure the election. Of course, the list of inactive voters on voter rolls, hearing that number as high as 800,000+, pretty staggering, and that's statewide. But you've also got the issue of federal elections being counted after Election Day. Were you involved with that lawsuit with Mike Bost, I believe, challenging that? Because in Illinois, we take mail-in ballots for up to 2 weeks after Election Day, but groups like Judicial Watch saying that that violates federal elections by extending the election 2 weeks after Election Day.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. 14 days to count vote by mail ballots as they come trickling in after the election. It's ridiculous. Well, unfortunately, in that particular lawsuit with Congressman Bost, we did not prevail here in Illinois. And of course, that was in federal court. However, Judicial Watch is not giving up on that because there are several other states, quite a few that allow counting after Election Day. And so Judicial Watch has filed in Mississippi. And, as we know, when you're dealing with federal lawsuits, what is found in one court can impact other states. So we are watching carefully some lawsuits that have been brought in other states. In fact, in the Mississippi lawsuit, they only have 5 days after Election Day in Mississippi to count ballots. But the RNC and the Mississippi Republican Party had also filed lawsuits. So those suits have been joined together in Mississippi, and we'll be watching suits like that around the country very carefully, hoping that there'll be good outcomes there, that it will add strength when we come back to Illinois to try to hit that again.
Carol Davis with the Illinois Election Integrity Program here with Illinois in Focus Daily. We've also got the issue of mail-in ballots kind of just there. It's a process in Illinois. Now people can request permanent mail-in balloting. But clearly, there have been efforts at the State House to try to open that up even more, allowing for counties to just send out mail-in ballots, even if it's not requested. Where are we at in this situation? What are the pitfalls and the dangers of, proliferating mail-in ballots to this degree?
Well, it's interesting. Way back in 2005, President Jimmy Carter and James Baker had the Carter-Baker Commission, and they warned us way back then, do not go with vote by mail. It's a superhighway to possible fraud. And of course, we have seen that all over the country. So it's really important. We have a strategy called Claim Your Name, Secure Your Vote. It's on our IEIP.org website, and it really helps you to secure your vote. With the vote by mail ballots able to be requested back at the beginning of August on the 7th, of course, you couldn't get a one-time vote by mail, but they want to sweep everyone into the permanent vote by mail list. We strongly advise against signing up for permanent vote by mail. Request a one-time vote by mail ballot, request it early so no one else can claim your name, because in the 2020 election, we had that happen to many people who came to vote on Election Day only to be told, sorry, we've already received a vote by mail ballot in your name. So our Claim Your Name, Secure Your Vote means you claim your name early. You don't have to vote that vote by mail ballot. In fact, we advise never putting a vote by mail ballot in the postal system because it can travel to 3 different states before it comes back to your local election office. Isn't that crazy? And so it is not secure. But again, if you claim your name, get it early, take it to the polling place as early as you can vote. That way, if they do say, well, hey, someone's already cast a vote by mail ballot in your name, then you've got 30, 40 days before Election Day to call the sheriff and say, hey, my identity's been stolen, and get that sorted out. You don't want to wait until Election Day to discover that your ballot has been used.
Carol, in talking with some other elections authorities and just looking at Illinois law, the mail-in balloting situation, of course, if you take somebody else's ballot to turn it in, you have to have like a written affidavit of sorts, and the signatures need to be on there, and then the signatures are checked when you physically deliver those. But these ballot drop boxes, there's nobody there checking to see if you've got that affidavit signed to be able to deliver somebody else's ballot, right? So is that a loophole that could be devastating to Illinois elections, especially if, every single vote counts and matters?
Absolutely, Greg. And the sad thing is that the left has had 40 some years to undermine every safeguard in our election process. So absolutely, so much of our elections are based on the honor system. And unfortunately, we're living in a society where there's not much honor and integrity in some people. So it's a situation that some of the top attorneys in the nation have been working on. And we are way ahead of where we were in 2020. But you're right, those drop boxes are a problem. Many states have passed laws against those or put more safeguards into that. So even though Illinois is certainly not on the cutting edge of election integrity, we can be thankful that some of the other and more frankly critical battleground states have taken a lot of steps to secure their elections. But turnout is everything. We have to turn out everyone because there is going to be fraud and we have to vote enough to overcome it.
Carol Davis with the Illinois Election Integrity Project joining us here with Illinois in Focus Daily. And finally, Carol, I think the elephant in the room is the concerns over if non-citizens are going to be voting in this election. Everybody from President Trump has raised those concerns down to Texas Governor Greg Abbott and some Republicans in Illinois raising those concerns. How legitimate of a concern is that? And how is it even possible that somebody who's a non-citizen could possibly register to vote in a state like Illinois?
Well, it's very possible, and sadly it is happening because, again, the voter registration system is based on the honor system. When they register, they have to use the federal form, and you're designating with a checkbox, I am a citizen. Well, unfortunately, we know many of these non-governmental organizations, NGOs, are greeting all of the aliens the minute they get into the country, and they're offering them, food assistance and housing assistance and healthcare assistance and sign this, sign that, sign the other thing. We'll get you all signed up for all these benefits. And one of those, sign here, happens to be a voter registration form. So the non-citizens are not going to be showing up in droves to vote at your local polling place. That's not how this is going to work. All the left needs to do is get them on the rolls, which they are doing, and then vote-by-mail ballots will be harvested and cast in those people's names. The left does not really care if a few of those people get brought up on charges of voting when they were not citizens, which is a felony. But to the left, those people are collateral damage. So we have the SAVE Act going through U.S. Congress. The House passed it on July 10th. Everybody's out of Washington now until September 9th. Senator Mike Lee is championing the SAVE Act through the Senate. It's the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, SAVE. And we need to make a lot of noise about this bill. Senator Lee wants to attach this to the must-pass spending bill, which will be probably a continuing resolution that must pass by September 30th. I ask everyone to join the National Only Citizens Vote Coalition. We're doing great work on fighting back against non-citizens voting, and that's onlycitizensvotecoalition.com. onlycitizensvotecoalition.com. And we're having a National Only Citizens Vote Week, September 15th through 21st. And of course, Constitution Day is right in the middle of that week. So we want to make a huge national press to force the Senate to pass that and force whoever's in the White House to sign it into law before the November election.
Well, Carol, when I've brought this up before about like auto voter registration or the process that people take even through various websites to register to vote, elections officials say, hey, there's steps in the way of non-citizens being able to register to vote. Are those steps real?
Well, I want to remind people that back in January.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, because we have had non-citizens added, and we've caught them on there, hundreds of them in the past. So, the safeguards aren't there. But please have people go to our website. They can do something to help, something as simple as adopt a funeral home. Look at a local funeral home's website and get that information to our voter list maintenance team. We'll have some training on that after Labor Day online. And, it's all hands on deck. It's everybody on the field. We've got to have judges, election judges, poll watchers. This is not the election to sit out, folks. We've got a lot that we've accomplished. We're way ahead of where we were in 2020, but we need every person. Every good person can do something to help.
Carol Davis, Illinois Election Integrity Program. Greatly appreciate you taking the time this morning. We'll definitely have to connect again as we get closer to the election to see what kinds of changes have been made, if at all, especially with the lawsuits lingering in other states. Greatly appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right. It is Illinois in Focus Daily here with America's Talking Network. Appreciate Carol joining us live. Again, we'll have to catch up with her and get a response from the State Board of Elections and other elections officials as to some of these concerns. But be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell with Illinois in Focus Daily each and every weekday morning here with America's Talking Network.